If you're not familiar with the name Jeffrey Dahmer, Marc Meyers' film My Friend Dahmer might seem just like one of many coming-of-age stories, but its protagonist is one of America's most notorious serial killers.
Here I am!
Get out of your shell. You need to be more normal.
I now present to you Jeffrey Dahmer in his command performance.
There has been numerous movies about serial killers, and I remember when I was younger and just discovering all kinds of horror movies, there was a whole DVD box set that featured Gacy, Ed Gein, Ted Bundy, and also one about Jeffrey Dahmer, I think. People are fascinated by those figures, and the movies can very quickly tend to glorify these sociopaths and their atrocities. They can also risk to simplify their motivations and psyche. Looking up information for this review, I also stumbled on a film simply called Dahmer, where none other than Jeremy Renner played a man who would be known as the Milwaukee Cannibal. If you know that movie, please let me know if it's worth checking out. My friend Dahmer chooses an approach that I haven't seen before for this kind of subject matter. There's not a single of his many murders in the film because it focuses on Dahmer's time as a high school student, and it ends just before he commits his first crime. So if you're looking for a bloody slasher kind of film, this isn't it. But going with a coming-of-age type story, you might think this will go even more in a humanizing, simplifying direction. Well, first of all, of course it is humanizing, but these people were human beings after all. Even the most gruesome mass murderers and dictators are human too, and if you want to delve into someone's mind, it's not a good idea to portray them as simple monsters. The human mind is not simple, and there's a distinct difference between humanizing someone and to give an excuse for someone's actions. Fortunately, this movie is not making excuses. It shines a light on the strange and hard surroundings Dahmer grew up in, but that doesn't take away from his horrible crimes. What makes the movie so different and special is the fascinating production background. My Friend Dahmer is based on the graphic novel of the same name, but this comic is more than just a fictionalized account of that young man's life, because it was created by John Bagdorf, who was friends with Dahmer in high school. In the movie version, he's portrayed by Alex Wolff, who was in the Mark Wahlberg film Boston last year, and you can already see him draw different portraits of his friend Jeff. I haven't read this graphic memoir so far, but after this movie I'm going to. Another thing that I just read about in preparation for this review is the matter that Marc Meyers and his team filmed the scenes of Dahmer's family life in his actual home from back then. When I saw the movie a few days ago, I thought what a fascinating house and location it was. It feels like it's almost deep in the woods, surrounded by nature, very sealed off from the rest of the world. To know now that this was actually the real home gives me kind of a shiver. The casting of Lynch in the title role is also very interesting. For me personally, not that much because I didn't know him before, but for a younger audience he's well known for his work in the Disney Channel production Austin and Ally. It will be interesting to see yet another former kids idol to see as another serial killer in the future, because Zac Efron was cast as Ted Bundy in the upcoming thriller Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile. But back to My Friend Dahmer. As someone who has seen a lot of coming-of-age and high school movies in general, I was primed to see a lot of bullying and your typical outsider kind of stuff. But I was very pleasantly surprised that this film shows many facets that I haven't seen like this before. Yes, Jeffrey Dahmer was an outsider and very peculiar in his ways, but it manifested in behavior and actions that were quite new to me. And since this seemed to be very close to reality, it was all the more fascinating. In those years, Dahmer was very isolated in his own thoughts and desires, and he began to struggle with his inner demons. He's realizing that he's gay, though fighting to suppress it. At the same time, he's obsessed with dead things, and his hobby is to collect roadkill and dissolve it in acid, which he can get by easily because of his father's profession as a chemist. In school he's not really being bullied, probably because of his rather tall, strong physicality, but he's not having any real friends either. He's shown as someone incapable to form normal human relationships most of the time, and when he's throwing fake epileptic fits, a small group of guys, including the author of the book, form the Jeffrey Dahmer fan club. They like him for his weirdness and he's their friend, but at the same time also kind of a sideshow attraction to them. It's a strange situation, but one many people can relate to when thinking back of growing up, I think. The movie addresses many aspects from Dahmer's life. The crisis with his parents at home, who will get a divorce in the time he was graduating, his growing alcohol abuse, the urge to look at the inner structures of animals and later human beings. It's all there and it's handled very delicately. My friend Dahmer has a dark and sinister feeling to it the whole way, and not just because you know that this man will end up killing 17 young men later in his life, but also because of the brooding, hopeless 70s atmosphere the movie evokes. It's the story of someone who is unable to express his feelings in any other way and slowly loses all his support in life until he gives way to his dark obsessions and urges. In German I'd say, My Friend Dahmer ist ein sehr intimer, unheimlicher Einblick in das frühe Leben eines Serienkillers. I give My Friend Dahmer 7.5 out of 10. It's more like 7.3, but I don't do that. Alright, that's it. Like always, comment below and let me know what you think about My Friend Dahmer. You can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, simply at TheJimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like, and make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.